because it belongs to divine providence that order be preserved in things. But the proper order is that it should descend proportionally from the highest to the lowest. It is necessary that the divine providence reach according to a certain proportion even to the last things. Now this proportion is that just as the highest creatures are under God and are governed by Him, so the lower creatures are under the superior ones and are governed by them. But among all creatures the intellectuals are supreme, as is clear from the foregoing. Therefore, the reason of divine providence demands that other creatures be governed by rational creatures. Further, whatever creature executes the order of divine providence, it has this insofar as it participates in something of the power of the first provident. Just as an instrument does not move except insofar as it participates in something of the power of the principal agent through motion. Those things, therefore, that partake more of the power of divine providence are the executors of divine providence in those that partake less. But intellectual creatures share more of it than others. For when providence requires both the disposition of order, which is effected by the cognitive power, and the execution, which is effected by the operative power, rational creatures partake of both powers, but the rest of the creatures only the operative power. Through the rational creatures, therefore, all other creatures are governed under divine providence. Still, to whomsoever any virtue is given by God, it is given to him in order for the effect of that virtue. For in this way all things are best arranged, while each is ordered to produce all the good things which are born of him. Now the intellectual power is of itself ordinative and regulative, whence we see that, when they are united in the same thing, the operative power follows the government of the intellectual power, just as we see in man that the members are moved to the control of the will. The same thing also appears if they exist in different people, for those men who exceed in operative power must be guided by those who exceed in intellectual power. Therefore, the reason of divine providence requires that other creatures be governed by intellectual creatures. Again, particular virtues are born to be moved by universal virtues, as is evident both in art and in nature. Now it is clear that the intellectual virtue is more universal than any other operative virtue. For the intellectual virtue contains universal forms, but every operative virtue is only from some particular form of the worker. It is therefore necessary that all other creatures should be moved and governed by the intellectual virtues. In addition, in all ordered powers there is one directive of another, which knows reason more. Whence we see in the arts that that art to which the end belongs, from which the reason of the whole artifice is taken, directs it, and commands that which works the artifice, like the art of steering a ship. And that which brings forth form commands that which arranges matter. The instruments, however, which do not know any reason, are only controlled. Therefore, since only intellectual creatures can know the reasons for the order of creatures, it will be theirs to rule and govern all other creatures. Still, that which is by itself is the cause of that which is by another. Now only intellectual creatures work by themselves as existing by the free will of the mistress of their operations, but other creatures work by the necessity of nature, as if moved by another. Intellectual creatures, therefore, by their operation, are the motives and rulers of other creatures.